Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers' 40th anniversary tour concert was the best show I have ever seen. It was an experience I will never forget, and I want to share with you why everyone should get to know Tom Petty. Maybe you don't know who Tom Petty is. Well, Tom Petty is an icon of American rock and roll. Tom Petty became one of the most prolific and admired performers in history, with numerous hit albums and multiple collaborations with legendary musicians. Tom Petty gave 4 generations of listeners unforgettable music, telling stories that the average guy or gal could relate to. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to tell you about the man and his band who filled the past 40 years of my life with his gritty voice, his jangling guitar, and his contagious lyrics. Tom Petty always wanted to be a rock and roll star. When he was 10, he met Elvis Presley. Petty became fascinated with being a musician after meeting Elvis, but it was seeing the Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show that directly influenced him to get serious. Petty dropped out of high school at the age of 17 to play music. For a while, he supported himself, working as a groundskeeper and as a grave digger for a time. He attributed the Rolling Stones with being, quote, my punk music. He was referring to the types of musicians who were regular working guys and were proof that musicians like him could make it in rock and roll. He and fellow bandmates decided to move to California. They were popular in their hometown of Gainesville, Florida, but they could not get a song on national airplay. This proved to be the turning point in his career. Petty and the Heartbreakers released a self-titled album in 1976. After a rough start, 2 of its songs, American Girl and Breakdown, got decent airtime. Their second album, You're Gonna Get It, made it into the top 40, with songs I Need to Know and Listen to Her Heart. Their third album, Damn the Torpedoes, made platinum status, selling over 2 million copies. It contained what would become one of the most widely recognized songs in rock and roll, the emotionally delivered Refugee. Petty and his band had made it, and were in time to take advantage of the newest medium in music. 1985 gave us Don't Come Around Here No More, along with a creepy Alice in Wonderland-themed video that got heavy airtime on MTV and introduced his music to a new generation of fans. The band also toured with rock staples, Bob Dylan and the Grateful Dead. In 1988, Petty joined George Harrison, Jeff Lynne, Bob Dylan, and Roy Orbison as the supergroup The Traveling Wilburys. This collaboration brought lifelong relationships with some of music's greatest living legends. Petty also had success with a solo album, Full Moon Fever. One song, Free Fallin', has continued to be one of the most recognized and enduring songs in Petty's long career. In 1993, Mary Jane's Last Dance was added to his greatest hits album, which sold over 10 million copies and stayed on the album charts for 6 years. Petty recorded another solo album in 1994, the critically acclaimed Wildflowers. It sold over 3 million copies and had hits with You Don't Know How It Feels and You Wreck Me. In the following years, Tom and the band released other successful albums. They have won 3 Grammys, have a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, have been presented multiple awards for their contribution to the music industry, and been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. In 2014, the release of their album, Hypnotic Eye, brought their first time debuting on the Billboard album chart at number 1. This was also the band's last studio album. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers embarked on their 40th anniversary tour in April of 2017. It ended on September 25th at the Hollywood Bowl in California. Less than a week later, Tom Petty suffered cardiac arrest and was taken to the hospital. He died at 8:40 in the evening on October 2nd, 2017. Petty's longtime friend Bob Dylan was one of the first to express his condolences, saying, "It's shocking, crushing news. I thought the world of Tom. He was a great performer, full of the light, a friend, and I'll never forget him." On October 2nd, my sister sent me a text. It said, It's a good thing you saw Tom Petty when you did. I turned my radio to the Fox, and American Girl was just starting to play. It was the encore song from his last concert tour. The irony was not lost on me. Tom Petty was a musician who got to the heart of his audience. He was a kid with a dream and some talent who, quote, turned anger into ambition. He was every person who wanted something better and was willing to work to achieve it. He was a role model later in life and understood how important that was. When asked why he did not include his battle with heroin in the documentary Running Down a Dream, he said he did not want to romanticize his addiction. As someone who has been singing along to Tom Petty for 40 years, I can attest to the impact his music has had on generations of listeners. My 13-year-old daughter asks me every day on the way to and from school, "Mom, can we play Tom Petty?" And some of my friends listen to him too. In those moments, I know I have introduced her to music that means something, that she can relate to. Tom Petty wrote coming-of-age songs that were made for everyday people who have dreams and desires for something bigger. Petty once reflected on his years as a musician, and he had this to say: "What's changed these days is that the man who approaches me on the street is more or less thanking me for a body of work, the soundtrack to his life, as a lot of them say, and that's a wonderful feeling. It's all an artist can ask." I too would like to say thank you, Tom Petty, for your body of work and for the soundtrack of my life. You will be greatly missed.